Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Adam, and alongside me, as always, is Grace.
Hi, everyone.
We're both grade 8 science teachers, over at School on X, and today, well, we're bringing some of that classroom curiosity right here to you.
That's right.
We spent a lot of time with our students really digging into different topics, trying to unravel some pretty complex ideas. And today, we're diving into a subject that, well, it impacts every single one of us. Every single day, right from the moment we wake up, really, to what's on our dinner plate.
Food.
Exactly, food. More specifically, we're taking a closer look at what our grade 8 students are actually exploring right now in Chapter 1 of their science curriculum, crop production and management.
It's a truly fundamental part of how human society functions, really.
It is, isn't it?
When you think about it, we all need food for energy.
Mhm.
I mean, for every single bodily process, right? Digestion, respiration, just moving around, thinking. But have you ever truly, paused to consider the immense logistical challenge? How we actually manage to feed billions of people in our country day after day, year after year.
It's staggering when you think about it that way.
It's far more complex than just, putting a seed in the ground and hoping for the best.
It's something we often take for granted, isn't it? The sheer scale is just mind-boggling.
It is.
I mean, plants, they're incredible, they're self-sufficient, right, making their own food through photosynthesis. Amazing.
The ultimate producers.
But we humans and all animals, well, we're completely reliant on them or, on other animals that have eaten plants for our sustenance. So the monumental task of feeding this large, ever-growing population means we can't just, wish food into existence or rely on foraging like our ancestors.
No, not on this scale.
It demands something incredibly organized, precise, and scientifically managed.
Precisely. It demands what we generally term regular production, proper management, and efficient distribution.
The 3 pillars.
Exactly. Without any one of those 3 interconnected pillars, the entire food system would undoubtedly falter. Probably quite quickly.
So our mission today.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to unravel and unpack the fundamental practices that make this astonishing feat possible.
Okay.
We're going to explore the scientific principles, and the practical, often really ingenious steps that farmers use day in and day out to produce the vast quantities of food we all rely on.
I think by the end of this, you'll definitely gain a whole new appreciation for every meal you eat.
I hope so.
Okay, let's unpack this journey then, because we're literally talking about cultivating our future here.
It's true.
We know there's an incredible diversity of crops out there. I mean, think about it. Staple cereals like wheat and rice, countless varieties of vegetables, and, of course, all those delicious fruits.
A huge variety.
But when we talk about large-scale production, the kind that feeds millions, it's not just about what you grow, but crucially when you grow it.
Right. Absolutely. That's a key and often maybe overlooked factor for many people.
Yeah.
India, being such an incredibly vast country, it boasts just an astonishing array of climatic conditions. Just consider the dramatic variations in temperature, humidity, rainfall, as you move from one region to another.
Totally different worlds sometimes.
Exactly. What might thrive in the humid, rainy plains of, say, the Gangetic Delta could never survive the dry, cooler winters of Rajasthan or Punjab.
Right. Makes sense.
This geographical and climatic diversity directly influences what can be cultivated and, maybe even more importantly, when it can be grown effectively to actually get a successful harvest.
So given this immense variation, how does the whole agricultural system kind of cope? How do they categorize crops to manage this efficiently? Is it like a calendar for nature?
Well, yeah, in a way. Despite the immense diversity, we can broadly identify 2 major cropping patterns in India, and these are primarily based on those seasonal climatic conditions.
Okay.
First, we have the Kharif crops.
Kharif. Got it.
These are the crops specifically sown at the onset of the rainy season, which typically runs from June to September in India.
The monsoon season.
Exactly. This period brings those much-needed monsoon rains, providing abundant water, along with the necessary warmth and humidity.
Okay, so what are some examples?
Think of paddy, which is rice, of course.
Right.
Maize, soybean, groundnut, and cotton. These are classic examples of Kharif crops.
Ah.
These are robust plants that are pretty much designed to thrive in warm, wet, humid conditions. They benefit hugely from the monsoon's bounty.
Ah, so these are basically our summer to autumn crops, utterly reliant on that heavy, consistent rainfall. Makes sense.
Pretty much.
And then what about the other major category for the cooler months?
Then we have the rabi crops.
Okay.
Rabi crops are cultivated during the winter season, generally from October to March.
Cooler, drier.
Exactly. This period in India is characterized by cooler temperatures and typically drier air. They often rely on residual moisture left over from the monsoons or specific irrigation strategies.
Right.
Wheat, gram, that's chickpea, pea, mustard, and linseed. These fall squarely into the rabi category.
Okay. Different set of needs.
Precisely. These crops are inherently better suited to the cooler temperatures and less humid conditions, and their growth cycle just aligns perfectly with the moisture available post-monsoon or through winter irrigation.
That makes perfect sense. And I remember our students often asking, why isn't paddy grown in winter? Seems like a prime example of just how critical these seasonal differences are.
It absolutely is.
And how farmers have adapted, right?
Totally. It's fascinating to observe why paddy, for instance, just isn't cultivated during the winter months.
Yeah.
The simple scientific reason is its huge water requirement. Paddy needs a truly tremendous amount of standing water and high humidity all through its growth cycle.
Wow.
Conditions that are really only abundantly available during the rainy monsoon season.
Okay, so that explains why it's pretty much exclusively a kharif crop.
Exactly. Trying to grow it in winter would be, well, economically just not feasible because of the massive, costly irrigation needed. And the lower temperatures would also hinder its growth anyway.
Gotcha.
And beyond these two main seasons, Kharif and Rabi, it's also worth noting that, pulses and some vegetables manage to find their growing season during the shorter summer months in many places.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they might capitalize on specific regional conditions or maybe just have really rapid growth cycles. So while Kharif and Rabi are the big two, agricultural practices are always adapting to local nuances,
Always fine-tuning. Makes sense.
Mm.
So it's abundantly clear now that growing food isn't just about, casually scattering seeds on the ground and crossing your fingers.
Definitely not.
It's an incredibly precise, methodical series of steps, almost like following a complex but hopefully rewarding recipe for nature.
That's a great way to put it.
Farmers undertake several well-defined activities over time, and it's actually quite similar in principle to what a diligent gardener does in their backyard. Or even what you might do if you're trying to nurture a special ornamental plant at home.
Right, the principles overlap.
These activities aren't random. They're a carefully orchestrated sequence of crucial tasks that we collectively refer to as the basic practices of crop production.
That's a perfect analogy of the recipe idea because just like any good recipe, the foundation is absolutely everything.
Right.
And the very first non-negotiable step in this meticulous agricultural process is the preparation of the soil.
Okay, step one.
Also commonly known as tilling or plowing. This step is absolutely foundational because a well-prepared soil directly correlates to a better, more abundant yield.
Makes sense.
You simply can't build a strong house on a weak foundation, right?
Yep.
And the same principle applies unequivocally to agriculture. The health of your crop really begins beneath the surface.
So what exactly makes this step so profoundly crucial? What's happening down there in the soil when it's getting tilled or plowed? What are the hidden wonders?
Well, it's all about creating the optimal environment, not just for the plant roots, actually, but for a whole hidden world of beneficial life down there.
All right.
Loosening the soil through tilling creates vital space. It allows for much better aeration, getting air in there, and it helps the growth and unhindered movement of beneficial organisms like earthworms and a myriad of microbes.
The friends of the farmer.
Exactly. Those aren't just random creatures. They are truly the friends of the farmer, the sort of unsung heroes of the soil.
Yeah.
They tirelessly continue to turn and loosen the soil, and in doing so, they add humus.
Humus. Okay, what's that exactly?
Humus is that rich, dark, decomposed organic matter. It's incredibly valuable. This whole process of aeration and enrichment is absolutely vital. It makes the soil breathable for the roots and incredibly nutrient-rich.
Wow.
It's truly fascinating how something as simple as turning soil unlocks this entire microscopic world beneath our feet that does so much work for us.
It's amazing how much activity is happening right under our feet. I remember we covered that in previous classes, this idea of soil as a living, breathing ecosystem, not just, inert dirt.
Exactly. You might recall from previous classes that soil is far from just dirt. It's a dynamic, living system.
Yeah.
It contains essential minerals, water, air, and a vast multitude of living organisms.
That's right.
And there's this constant, vital cycle happening. When dead plants and animals decompose, these diligent soil organisms act as nature's recyclers.
Breaking down.
Yep, releasing their stored nutrients back into the soil. Turning the soil, the plowing action, brings these nutrient-rich layers from deeper down up to the top, making them readily accessible for the growing plant roots.
Oh, I see. So it brings the good stuff up.
Precisely. It's a perfect self-sustaining recycling system that continuously keeps the soil productive. Without this turning, those vital nutrients might remain locked away, sort of out of reach for the new crops.
So how do farmers actually do this? How do they perform this tilling, this fundamental act of soil prep?
Yeah.
What tools are involved, both, traditionally and in modern farming?
Okay, so historically, and actually still in many regions today, this tilling is performed using a plow.
The classic image.
Exactly. A plow can be crafted from sturdy wood or durable iron, depending on the region's resources and the soil type. And it's most often drawn by animals, like strong bulls, powerful horses, or even resilient camels in drier areas.
Right.
The plow itself is pretty ingeniously designed. It has a strong iron strip at its working end called a plowshare.
Plowshare, okay.
That's the bit that cuts through the soil. And then there's a long log of wood or iron called a plow shaft, which connects the plowshare to the animals.
Got it.
One end of the shaft usually has a handle for the farmer to guide it, and the other end is attached to a beam that rests across the animals' necks.
Wow, real teamwork.
It's a testament to human-animal collaboration.
Yeah.
A single pair of bulls and a skilled farmer can operate it pretty efficiently.
Does the soil condition matter? Like if it's really dry?
Oh, definitely. If the soil is particularly dry and hardened, it might even require some watering before plowing to make it workable and prevent excessive dust.
Makes sense.
This process of plowing also helps break up those large, hard soil clumps, what farmers sometimes call crumbs.
The crumbs, right.
Imagine trying to plant a tiny seed in a giant rock. Breaking these crumbs creates a fine, loose, consistent soil bed.
Essential for the seeds.
Absolutely crucial.
Right.
It lets tiny roots penetrate easily, ensures water and air can reach effectively, and gives you optimal seed-to-soil contact for good germination. All foundational for a healthier, more consistent yield.
Okay, so plowing breaks it up. What else?
After plowing, leveling the field is another crucial step, smoothing out the surface.
Why leveling?
Well, it's not just for uniform sowing, but also for highly efficient irrigation later on. It ensures water spreads evenly and doesn't just pool in low spots.
Ah, smart.
And sometimes farmers strategically add manure to the soil before tilling.
Oh, really? Before?
Yeah, this ensures it gets thoroughly mixed in during the plowing process, helping it become like an integral part of the soil structure rather than just sitting on top.
Clever. It sounds like a remarkable amount of physical labor, though, even with animals helping out.
It is. It's hard work.
Are there other essential tools farmers use beyond the plow for soil prep and general crop management?
Absolutely. Beyond the traditional plow, other agricultural implements are vital, especially as farming methods evolve. One such simple yet remarkably effective tool is the hoe.
The hoe.
The hoe is primarily used for that laborious but essential task of removing weeds, those unwanted plants competing with crops, and for further loosening and aerating the soil, especially in smaller plots or maybe around individual plants.
Right, more targeted.
Exactly. It typically has a long rod, often wood or iron, and a strong, broad, bent plate of iron that acts like a sharp blade at the end. Like the plow, it's often pulled by animals in many parts of the world, making it more efficient than purely manual hand weeding.
So the hoe is for more localized work and crucial weed control. What about something that takes the heavy lifting out of it, especially for bigger farms in modern agriculture?
Right. For larger scale operations, modern farming has increasingly embraced the tractor-driven cultivator.
Ah, the big machines.
Yes. This is where technology really steps in and becomes a monumental game changer. Efficiency, scale.
How does it work?
The cultivator is a robust implement fitted with multiple tines or blades that penetrate and turn the soil in a single pass, covering a much wider area than traditional plows.
Wow.
Its use significantly saves both manual labor and precious time compared to the older methods. It allows farmers to prepare vast areas of land in just a fraction of the time.
That's incredible.
It's a powerful testament to how agricultural practices have intelligently evolved, to meet the demands of large-scale, efficient food production for billions of people.
A necessary evolution, really.
Right.
Okay. So once the soil is meticulously prepped, aerated, leveled, the stage is set. Now comes the part where it gets really interesting, I think. Sowing.
The moment of planting.
Exactly. This isn't just a step. It feels like a pivotal moment in crop production.
Mm.
It's definitely not about just scattering seeds haphazardly and hoping for the best, right?
No, absolutely not.
It's about a deliberate, careful selection of good quality, clean, and healthy seeds. Seeds that promise a high yield.
Critically important.
Because after all, if you start with poor seeds, no amount of excellent soil prep or perfect watering will ever give you that truly healthy, abundant crop you're hoping for.
You're absolutely right. Seed selection is fundamentally critical. So how do farmers actually go about selecting these optimal seeds? How do they ensure they're giving their crop the best possible start?
Yeah, how do they pick the good ones?
Well, a common and remarkably effective method, something our students can even try as a simple experiment, involves a basic float test.
Oh yeah, Activity 1.1 in the textbook, right?
That's the one, Activity 1.1. If you take a handful of seeds, say gram or wheat, and just put them in water,
Okay.
you'll notice that the damaged or unhealthy ones will actually float on the surface.
They float. Why?
It happens because they become hollow and lighter, usually due to internal damage from pests, maybe disease, or sometimes just being underdeveloped.
Oh, I see.
Conversely, the healthy, heavier seeds being dense and intact, they'll promptly sink to the bottom.
Simple but effective.
It's a simple yet incredibly effective way to separate the viable, vigorous seeds from the non-viable ones. Ensures that only the strongest, most promising seeds get sown.
That's crucial for getting a good start.
Absolutely. It's crucial for ensuring a high germination rate and a healthy, productive crop right from the outset. It's practical knowledge that's been used for generations.
That's a brilliant low-tech solution for, well, an ancient problem in agriculture. So once the good seeds are identified and selected, how do they actually get into the ground? Precisely and effectively. What tools are involved?
Okay, then come the ingenious tools for sowing. Traditionally, for manual sowing, a funnel-shaped tool was commonly used.
A funnel?
Yeah. Farmers would manually fill the seeds into the wide mouth of the funnel, and from there, the seeds would pass down through maybe 2 or 3 pipes, which had sharply pointed ends.
Oh, I see.
These sharp ends would then pierce into the prepared soil, placing the seeds at a specific desired depth.
Effective, but sounds laborious.
Exactly. This method, while effective for its time and still used in smaller-scale farming, required significant manual labor and didn't always guarantee perfect uniformity in spacing or depth, could lead to inconsistencies in plant growth.
And what about modern advancements? We've all seen those impressive large machines that tractors pull across massive fields. How do they handle sowing?
Right. Nowadays, the seed drill is incredibly common and has really revolutionized large-scale farming, especially when paired with a tractor.
The seed drill. Okay.
This machine is a true game changer for both efficiency and precision. It sows the seeds uniformly across the field, ensuring an equal distance and a consistent depth between each individual seed.
Uniformity is key then.
Absolutely vital. This consistency makes sure seeds are properly covered by the soil after sowing.
Which protects them.
Exactly. Protects them from hungry birds that might otherwise just eat them up, and critically protects them from drying out too quickly from exposure to wind or sun.
Smart.
Ultimately, sowing by using a seed drill saves a tremendous amount of both time and labor compared to traditional methods. Leads to more consistent germination and a healthier overall crop stand.
I've also heard about something called a nursery system for some specific plants, like rice. How does that fit into this sowing picture?
Ah, yes, the nursery system. That's another important and strategic technique.
How does it work?
Some plants, like paddy, rice, or certain vegetables, aren't directly sown in the main field. Instead, they're first grown in what's called a nursery.
Like a little preschool for plants.
Kind of. In a nursery, these seeds are nurtured in a controlled, protective environment until they develop into strong, young seedlings with a robust root system. Once they've developed sufficiently and are ready to face, the rigors of the open field, they are then carefully and manually transplanted one by one to the main cultivation field.
Wow, transplanted by hand, often.
Often, yes, especially for paddy. This method is also applied to some forest plants and flowering plants. Gives them a vital head start, and increases their chances of survival and vigorous growth before they face the challenges of the main field.
So it's about ensuring only the strongest make it to the main event.
Pretty much. It's a way to manage risk and ensure a good stand.
And why is all this precise spacing? Whether from a seed drill or transplanting, why is it so fundamentally important? If you just scattered them, wouldn't they still grow, just maybe a bit messy?
The distance between plants is absolutely critical if plants are sown too close together, leading to what we call overcrowding.
Right, overcrowding.
They enter into intense competition among themselves for every vital resource. Precious sunlight, essential nutrients from the soil, physical space to expand their roots and leaves, and, of course, water.
They fight each other.
Essentially, yes. When plants are too close, they basically starve each other out, fighting for every ray of light and drop of water.
That sounds bad for yield.
It severely impacts the crop's overall growth and ultimately its yield, leads to weaker plants, stunted development, and a significantly less abundant harvest.
So what do farmers do if it happens?
Sometimes, to mitigate this, a few plants might even need to be manually removed or thinned out, as they say.
Thinning. Okay.
It's done to give the remaining ones the optimal chance at thriving. It's all about optimizing the conditions for each individual plant to reach its full potential, ensuring they have the resources they need to truly flourish.
Maximize the potential of each plant. Makes total sense. So the seeds are meticulously in the ground, carefully spaced, protected. But they need to grow, and grow well.
Next stage.
You know, sometimes you visit a farm and you see fields with just incredibly healthy, thriving crops. Lush, vibrant green, bursting with life.
A beautiful sight.
Then, maybe right next door, the plants look weak, stunted, struggling. Pale, sickly leaves. You can't help but wonder, what's the secret? What makes some plants grow so much better?
Yeah, what's the difference?
It all comes down to nourishment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just like we need a balanced diet to be healthy, plants need their specific nutrients too.
Absolutely. You've hit on a fundamental principle of plant biology and, well, agriculture.
Okay.
Soil naturally provides a complex cocktail of mineral nutrients. These are undeniably essential for plant growth and development. Plants draw these up efficiently through their root systems.
Right.
However, here's the catch. If farmers continuously cultivate crops in the same field season after season without any breaks or deliberate replenishment,
What happened?
the soil gradually gets severely depleted of these vital nutrients.
Like using them all up.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
repeatedly withdrawing money from a bank account without ever depositing anything back in. Eventually, you run out.
Bad news for the next crop.
Precisely. This is exactly why adding substances to replenish these nutrients is so vital for maintaining long-term soil fertility and ensuring sustained agricultural productivity.
And that's where manure and fertilizers come in, right? To enrich the soil. What's the primary difference between these two vital amendments?
Exactly. Let's start with manure. Often regarded as nature's original and in many ways best fertilizer.
Okay, manure.
Manure is an organic substance. Essentially, it's the nutrient-rich product of decomposed plant and animal waste, broken down by various microorganisms over time.
And do farmers make it?
Typically, farmers collect plant residues, animal dung, maybe other organic waste, often in pits or piles in open places, and just allow it to decompose naturally. The decomposed matter is then used as organic manure.
And why is it often considered superior to chemical fertilizers?
Well, it has numerous sort of holistic benefits. It significantly enhances the soil's water-holding capacity,
So less water needed maybe.
potentially, or it holds water longer during dry spells. It also makes the soil wonderfully porous. Yeah, which is crucial for better aeration and gas exchange around the roots. Prevents waterlogging, lets roots breathe.
Okay.
Manure also crucially boosts the patulation of those beneficial microbes, the friends of the farmer we talked about.
Right. The little helpers.
Exactly. They further improve nutrient cycling and soil structure. Overall, manure dramatically improves the general texture and workability of the soil, makes it more fertile, easier to cultivate in the long run.
So it helps the soil itself, not just feeds the plant directly.
Exactly. It builds soil health. In fact, you might recall we even learned about vermicomposting in Class 6.
Oh yeah, with the earthworms.
That's it, which is a fantastic method using earthworms to accelerate this decomposition process and produce incredibly rich, high-quality manure.
Cool. So manure is the all-natural, holistic approach, building up the soil's long-term health. What about fertilizers then? How do they differ?
Okay, so on the other hand, fertilizers are chemicals. Typically synthetic compounds produced in large factories. Yep. They are specifically engineered to be rich in one or more particular nutrients, providing a very targeted and concentrated boost.
Like a nutrient shot.
Pretty much. Common examples include urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, or that famously vital NPK combination.
NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Right.
Exactly, N, P, and K. These synthetic compounds have undeniably helped farmers achieve much higher crop yields, especially for staple crops like wheat, paddy, maize. They provide an immediate, powerful dose of specific nutrients that plants can readily absorb.
Can you break down NPK a bit more? What do they each do?
Sure. When we talk about NPK, we're zeroing in on the plant's essential macronutrients. Nitrogen, the N, is like the engine. It's crucial for vibrant leafy growth, that green color, and for making chlorophyll for photosynthesis.
Okay, N for green growth.
Phosphorus, P, is more like the plant's structural engineer, vital for strong root development, vigorous flowering, and setting fruit.
P for roots and fruits. Got it.
And potassium, K, acts kind of like the plant's immune system and hydration specialist. It bolsters overall health, disease resistance, and helps regulate water use.
T for overall health and water. Okay, that helps clarify.
Understanding these precise roles is really key to optimizing plant nutrition for maximum productivity.
But I've definitely heard that relying too heavily on these chemical fertilizers can have some significant drawbacks for the environment, for the soil itself. Is there a catch?
Yes, Adam, there's a significant catch that really demands thoughtful consideration.
Okay.
While they are incredibly effective in boosting short-term yields, excessive or indiscriminate use of fertilizers can actually make the soil less fertile over time.
Less fertile. How?
Well, they can disrupt the soil's delicate natural balance, potentially harming those beneficial microbial ecosystems we talked about. They can even lead to a buildup of salts that makes the soil unproductive.
Not good long term.
And importantly, they contribute significantly to water pollution.
Runoff.
Exactly. When fertilizers leach from fields washed away by rain or irrigation, they enter rivers, lakes, groundwater. This influx of nutrients, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus, can lead to a process called eutrophication.
Eutrophication, that's the algal blooms, right?
Precisely. Excessive algal blooms occur, they die, decompose, and that process depletes oxygen in the water, creating dead zones that harm fish and other aquatic life.
Wow. So a big environmental impact.
Definitely. So while fertilizers are effective for a quick boost, they need to be used thoughtfully, precisely, strategically, not just as a blanket solution.
Okay. So if continuous cropping depletes the soil and fertilizers have these drawbacks, what sustainable strategies do farmers use? How do they replenish the soil's vitality and maintain its long-term fertility?
Good question. Farmers employ a few clever strategies to maintain soil fertility and ensure long-term sustainability.
Like what?
Well, they can substitute synthetic fertilizers with organic manure, as we just discussed. That provides a more balanced, beneficial amendment that nourishes the whole soil ecosystem.
Right, back to manure.
Another simple yet effective method is to simply leave the field fallow.
Fallow,
Uncultivated. Just leave it empty between crops for a season or two. This allows the soil to naturally rest and replenish its nutrients and recover its microbial balance through natural decomposition processes.
letting nature heal itself.
Kind of.
Ah.
However, one of the most effective and scientifically sound methods, which is being increasingly encouraged, is crop rotation.
Crop rotation, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Tell us more. How does that work its magic in enriching the soil?
Okay, crop rotation involves systematically growing different types of crops alternately in the same field over successive seasons. It's an ancient practice, but it has deep scientific roots.
Okay.
For example, farmers in northern India often grow legumes like gram, chickpea, or pea maybe as fodder for animals in one season.
Legumes, okay.
And then they follow it with a cereal crop like wheat in the next season.
Why that specific combination?
This is incredibly smart from an agricultural perspective. It's a true marvel of natural synergy. The reason it works so well is that leguminous plants have a very special symbiotic relationship with a specific type of bacteria called Rhizobium.
Rhizobium. I remember that name.
Yes. These Rhizobium bacteria live in tiny swellings, or nodules, right there on the roots of the leguminous plants.
Right.
These bacteria possess a unique and incredibly valuable ability. They can fix atmospheric nitrogen,
Fix it.
meaning they convert inert nitrogen gas, which is abundant in the air but unusable by most plants, into usable nitrogen compounds right there in the soil, which plants can then absorb.
Yeah. So the legumes basically make their own fertilizer.
In a way, yes. By planting legumes, farmers are essentially using nature's own process to naturally enrich the soil with this vital nutrient, nitrogen. That nitrogen is then readily available for the next crop, like wheat.
That's amazing.
It is. This practice reduces the need for synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, making farming more sustainable and environmentally friendly. It's a perfect example of working with nature, not against it.
Truly clever. Nature's own fertilizer factory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next crucial element. Water. It's just fundamentally essential for life, isn't it?
Absolutely critical.
I remember last summer, if I wasn't super careful about watering my poor houseplants, they just dried up and shriveled. Sad sight.
We've all been there.
But for a massive field of crops, water is far more than just, a drink to keep them alive. It's
Yeah.
like the very lifeblood of growth, right? And the ultimate transport system, carrying vital nutrients to every single cell.
You're absolutely right. Water is critical for all living beings, and for plants, it's about so much more than mere survival. It's absolutely essential for proper growth and development at every single stage.
How so?
Well, plants absorb water through their roots, obviously, but along with that water, they efficiently absorb all the dissolved minerals and fertilizers from the soil.
Ah, so water carries the food.
Exactly, and consider this fascinating fact. Plants are nearly 90% water.
Wow, 90%.
Yeah. And crucially, seeds won't even germinate under dry conditions. They need that moisture to kickstart the complex biochemical processes of life.
Right, germination needs water.
Water also acts as that vital transport system within the plant, carrying all those dissolved nutrients to every single part from the deepest root tip to highest leaf.
Oh.
And surprisingly, perhaps, water also plays a crucial role in protecting crops from environmental extremes.
Protecting them. How?
For instance, it can buffer plants against sudden temperature drops, like frost. The latent heat of fusion in water helps prevent cell damage.
Interesting.
And it can protect them from scorching hot air currents during heat waves through evaporative cooling, just like sweating helps us.
Okay, so temperature regulation too.
Yep. So maintaining adequate soil moisture through regular watering, or irrigation as we call it in agriculture, is paramount for healthy crop growth and a successful, abundant harvest.
So how do we precisely define irrigation in an agricultural context? And how do farmers decide when and how much water their crops actually need? It must be a delicate balance, right?
It is. The supply of water to crops at regular intervals is precisely what we call irrigation.
Regular intervals.
But the timing and frequency of that irrigation aren't fixed. They vary considerably based on several critical factors.
Such as?
The specific crop being grown, a rice paddy, for example, needs far, far more water than a wheat field.
Right.
The type of soil, sandy soils, which drain quickly and have poor water retention, need more frequent watering than clay soils, which hold onto water longer.
Soil type matters.
And, of course, the season. In summer, for instance, the frequency of watering is significantly higher.
Why is that? Just the heat?
It's largely due to the increased rate of evaporation of water, both from the soil surface directly exposed to the sun, and from the leaves of the plants themselves. That process is called transpiration.
Transpiration.
Right. So farmers are constantly monitoring these conditions, checking soil moisture, observing plant health, looking at weather forecasts to ensure their crops get just the right amount of water, avoiding both drought stress and waterlogging, which can be just as bad.
A constant balancing act. And where do farmers actually source this vital water from? What are the typical sources for agricultural irrigation across a country like India?
Farmers draw water from a pretty diverse array of sources, and it depends heavily on their geographical location, the local hydrology, and what infrastructure is available.
Okay.
These sources include traditional hand-dug wells, modern tube wells that tap into deeper groundwater aquifers,
Deep wells, okay.
natural ponds and lakes, flowing rivers, large-scale dams that store vast amounts of water, especially from monsoons,
Saints Bams, right.
and extensive canal systems that are engineered to transport water over long distances, often from rivers or reservoirs, directly to agricultural land.
Wow, complex network.
It really is a complex network of both natural and engineered systems supporting our food supply.
So they have these diverse sources, but how do they efficiently get the water from the source to the field? What are the different methods they employ, both traditional and maybe more cutting-edge ones?
Okay, so historically, and indeed still in many places where resources are scarce or maybe technology isn't readily available, farmers devise some incredibly ingenious traditional methods to lift water.
Like what? I remember seeing pictures.
Yeah, these older methods rely heavily on animal power or human labor. That makes them cheaper to set up initially, but considerably less efficient in terms of water usage and the sheer amount of effort required.
Less efficient, okay.
Think of the moat or pulley system. A simple but effective method where a large bucket is manually drawn from a well using a rope and pulley, often with an animal or person pulling down a ramp.
Right, I can picture that.
Or the Deckley, which is a lever system. A heavy counterweight helps lift a bucket of water from a well. It's like a rhythmic dance of human ingenuity and basic physics.
Huh.
Even more sophisticated, perhaps, is the Rahat, or the Persian wheel.
The Persian wheel.
Yeah. It utilizes a continuous chain of buckets on a large wheel, often powered by a bull walking in circles. It continually scoops and pours water into a channel leading to the field.
Wow. Clever, but sounds slow.
These methods, while beautiful in their simplicity and ingenuity, really starkly highlight the immense manual labor and lower water efficiency that have driven the relentless need for modern solutions.
Okay, so what are the modern solutions? With technology, what are the more efficient water-saving methods farmers are increasingly adopting? I know our textbook highlights a couple of key ones that sound pretty transformative.
Yes, modern irrigation systems offer incredible efficiency and, crucially, significant water conservation. That's absolutely vital now in many parts of the world facing serious water scarcity.
Right.
First, there's a sprinkler system.
Sprinklers, like for lawns.
Similar principle, but on a larger scale. This system is particularly perfect for uneven land, where leveling might be difficult, or areas where water availability is limited. It kind of mimics natural rainfall.
How does it work?
It involves a network of perpendicular pipes with rotating nozzles on top. These are joined at regular intervals to a main pipeline.
Okay.
When water is allowed to flow through the main pipe under pressure, usually with the help of an electric pump, it escapes from these rotating nozzles, sprinkling over the crop just like natural rain.
Even distribution.
Very even and gentle. It's incredibly useful for lawns, yes, but also delicate coffee plantations and many other crops because it distributes water evenly and reduces runoff.
That sounds like a smart way to mimic nature and distribute water precisely. What's the other modern method? The one that sounds really precise, almost surgical in its water delivery.
That would be the drip system.
Drip irrigation.
Exactly. This is arguably the best technique currently available for water conservation because of its unparalleled precision.
How precise?
As the name suggests, water falls drop by painstaking drop directly near the roots of the plants. It uses a network of small diameter pipes fitted with special emitters placed right at the base of each plant.
Right to the roots.
Right to the roots. This direct, slow delivery minimizes evaporation, surface runoff, and deep percolation water sinking below the root zone. It ensures virtually no water is wasted.
Wow.
It's absolutely ideal for fruit plants, meticulously planned gardens, vineyards, and individual trees, where precise and efficient watering is paramount.
A game changer in dry areas, I imagine.
In regions facing severe water scarcity, it's truly considered a blessing. It enables cultivation where it might otherwise be impossible and maximizes every single precious drop. These modern systems really represent a significant leap forward in making agriculture far more sustainable and productive.
Absolutely vital progress.
Yeah.
Okay, so the crops are growing, they're well-nourished, adequately watered. It should be a picture of health.
Ideally, yes.
But sometimes you visit a field, and alongside the carefully sown wheat or maize, you see all these other unwanted plants popping up everywhere.
The gate crashers.
Yeah. You wonder, were these planted on purpose? Do they serve some function? And the answer is almost always no, right?
Always no.
These uninvited pervasive guests are what we call weeds. They might seem like just a minor nuisance to an untrained eye, but I imagine they pose a truly significant, costly problem for farmers.
You're absolutely right. They are far more than a nuisance. They are a critical challenge for farmers, demanding constant vigilance and a lot of effort.
So what exactly are weeds?
Weeds are simply undesirable plants that grow naturally and often very vigorously alongside the cultivated crop. Their removal, which is called weeding, is absolutely necessary and non-negotiable for a good harvest.
Why is weeding so necessary? What harm do they actually do?
Because weeds directly and fiercely compete with the valuable crop plants for every vital resource.
It's a competition.
They compete for precious water, essential nutrients from the soil, physical space to expand their roots and leaves, and even light casting shadows over the smaller crop plants, especially when they're young.
So they steal the resources.
Exactly. This intense competition severely impacts the crop's overall growth and, most critically, its final yield. Makes the harvest less abundant, and often the quality is lower too.
Anything else?
What's more, some weeds can even interfere mechanically with harvesting, maybe clogging up machinery or just making manual harvesting much more difficult and time-consuming.
Okay. Practical problems too.
And disturbingly, some varieties of weeds can even be poisonous to animals or humans if consumed, perhaps mixed in with the harvested grain, so they can be a direct health hazard as well.
Wow. Okay, so they're a serious threat on multiple levels. Given their competitive nature and potential harm, what strategies do farmers employ to get rid of these tenacious plants and protect their valuable crops?
Farmers employ a combination of strategies, often integrating traditional and modern techniques to effectively remove and control weeds.
Like what? Can they prevent them?
Well, one excellent preventative measure is tilling the soil before sowing the crops, that thorough preparation process we talked about.
Right, the plowing and cultivating.
Exactly. That helps to uproot and kill any weeds that have already started growing. Once they're uprooted and exposed, these weeds quickly dry up and often decompose, mixing back into the soil, so it prevents them from competing with the newly sown crop right from the start.
Like clearing the battlefield beforehand.
Pretty much. Preemptive action.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about once the crop is already growing and the weeds inevitably start to pop up alongside it?
Right. Once the crop is established and actively growing, the most effective time to remove weeds is before they produce flowers and seeds.
Why before flowers and
To
seeds?
prevent them from reproducing and spreading even further, you want to stop the next generation.
Makes sense. Stop the cycle.
So manual removal is a common method. This involves physically uprooting the weeds or cutting them very close to the ground periodically.
Hard work.
It is. It's often done with the help of a simple hand tool called a kerpie. Looks like a small handheld hoe. It's labor-intensive but very effective for precise removal, especially in smaller fields or maybe for specific types of weeds that chemicals don't work well on.
The Kerpie. Okay. Any other ways?
Interestingly, even the seed drill, which we discussed earlier for sowing, can inadvertently uproot some small weeds during its operation, especially when it's sowing in neat rows.
Huh?
A small side benefit.
Okay, and what about chemical solutions? Are there specific chemicals designed just for weed control? How do they work?
Yes, there are specialized chemicals called weedicides or herbicides. A common example mentioned in textbooks is 2004-D.
Weedicides. Okay.
These chemicals are quite remarkably designed to effectively kill the weeds without harming the crops themselves when used correctly.
Why do they do that?
Yeah.
Selective killing.
Often, yes. This selective action might be due to differences in how the chemicals are absorbed or metabolized by the target weeds versus the resistant crop plants. Or sometimes it's about timing, applying them at specific growth stages when weeds are vulnerable but the crops are not.
Clever chemistry.
The weedicides are typically diluted with water to the required concentration and then applied uniformly in the fields using a specialized sprayer, often tractor-mounted for large areas or backpack sprayers for smaller ones.
It sounds highly efficient for covering large areas quickly.
It is.
But I imagine using such chemicals requires a lot of caution.
Yeah.
What critical precautions do farmers need to take to protect themselves?
It's critically important to note that these chemicals, while effective, require extremely careful handling and application.
Safety first.
Absolutely. As mentioned, weedicides are typically sprayed during the vegetative growth of weeds. Before they flower and set seed, that's the most effective time for control. However, spraying these chemicals without proper protection can absolutely affect the health of the farmer doing the spraying.
Right. Inhalation or skin contact.
Both are risks. Therefore, they must use these chemicals with the utmost care, always diluting them to the correct concentration, checking wind conditions, and ensuring they wear appropriate protective gear.
Like what kind of gear?
Specifically, farmers should always cover their nose and mouth with a piece of cloth or, ideally, a proper respirator mask during the spraying of these chemicals to prevent inhalation. Gloves and protective clothing are also very important. Safeguarding their respiratory health and skin from potential harmful effects is paramount.
Absolutely. Their well-being is just as crucial as the crops. Okay, after months of relentless hard work, from the initial meticulous soil preparation to the careful sowing, the nurturing with nutrients, the precise irrigation, and that constant, exhausting battle against those persistent weeds, finally comes the grand moment of truth.
Harvesting.
Payday. Well, almost.
Exactly. This isn't just another task, is it? It's a deeply important, often highly anticipated, and universally celebrated event in the agricultural calendar.
Definitely a milestone. It's the culmination of all that effort, the cutting of the mature crop once it's fully ripe and ready. I believe most cereal crops, like wheat or rice, usually take around 3 to 4 months to reach this stage, right?
That's absolutely right. It is indeed the profound payoff, the long-awaited reward for the farmer's diligent, tireless work and patience.
How is harvesting actually done?
Harvesting in our country is carried out in two main ways. Either manually using a sickle, that traditional crescent-shaped hand tool with a sharp serrated blade, still common in smaller fields,
The sickle.
or for larger operations by large sophisticated machines called harvesters.
Big machines again.
Yep. It truly is a deeply satisfying sight, though vast golden fields, heavily laden with ripe grain, swaying gently in the breeze. It fills farmers' hearts with immense joy and a profound sense of well-being and accomplishment.
I can imagine all that work paying off.
It signifies the success of their entire season's efforts and the promise of abundant food for their families and communities.
So once the crop is cut, is it immediately ready? Ready for consumption or storage? Or is there another vital step, getting the actual grain out?
There's definitely another crucial step. Once the crop has been harvested, the next essential process is to separate the precious grain seeds from the chaff.
The chaff, what's that?
Chaff includes the dry outer coverings of the grain, the stalks, leaves, and other non-grain plant material. Basically, everything you don't eat.
Okay, and separating that is called?
That process is called threshing. Traditionally, this was done by maybe beating the harvested stalks against a hard surface or having animals trample them.
Sounds laborious again.
It was. However, modern technology has vastly improved this with a single, highly efficient machine called a combine.
A combine, because it combines tasks.
Exactly. A combine machine is a marvel of agricultural engineering. It's designed to perform both harvesting, cutting the crop, and threshing, separating the grain, in one efficient, continuous operation as it moves through the field.
Wow, that's efficiency.
It significantly speeds up the whole post-harvest process, saving immense time and labor.
I've often seen fields after harvest, especially in certain parts of the country, with all the leftover plant stalks and straw just lying there. Sometimes I hear about farmers burning the stubble.
Yeah.
What's the rationale behind that, and what's the deal with that practice? Is it okay?
The stubble dilemma. Yes. This is a significant challenge that arises after harvesting, particularly with crops like paddy or wheat, where there's a lot of residue left.
Stubble.
The stubble or crop residue left in the fields can be quite dense. Farmers sometimes resort to burning this residue.
No.
Why? Well, to quickly clear the field for planting the next crop, maybe because they have a very short window between seasons, or sometimes as a way to control pests or diseases that might overwinter in the stubble.
Okay, so there are reasons, but...
But this practice, while quick, causes significant environmental problems. It releases vast amounts of smoke, particulate matter, greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing heavily to air pollution, especially in urban areas downwind during certain times of the year.
Yeah, I've heard about the air quality issues.
It also carries the considerable risk of fires spreading uncontrollably to neighboring fields, damaging property and crops. And it poses serious health risks for nearby communities from the smoke inhalation.
So it's a real concern.
It is a real concern for environmental health and safety. Agricultural scientists and policymakers are actively working hard to find and promote more sustainable alternatives to stubble burning.
Like what?
Like incorporating the stubble back into the soil as organic matter using special machinery, or using it to create biomass energy or even animal feed, finding better uses for it.
Okay, good. And for farmers with smaller land holdings, who might not have access to those big, expensive combine harvesters, what methods do they use to separate the grain from the chaff?
Right. For farmers with smaller land holdings where large machinery might not be feasible or economical, the separation of grain and chaff is often done by a traditional but effective technique called winnowing.
Winnowing. I remember that from Class 6, too.
Exactly. It's a method that ingeniously uses the natural force of wind. The farmer usually stands at a height, maybe on a stool or platform, and drops the mixture of threshed grain and chaff slowly from a container or a special basket.
Okay.
As the mixture falls, the lighter chaff is carried away by the wind, while the heavier, denser grains fall pretty much straight down onto a sheet or into a separate pile.
Simple but clever. Using the wind.
It's a simple but remarkably effective method that relies on basic physics and the elements, still widely used.
The harvest season itself sounds like a massive deal, though. A truly momentous occasion for rural communities.
It truly is, Adam. After those 3 or 4 months of incredibly hard work, dedication, and sometimes, let's face it, a lot of anxiety worrying about weather, pests, everything.
Right.
The harvest season itself is a period of great joy, relief, and widespread celebration across India. It's a time for farmers to finally relax, reflect, and enjoy the well-deserved fruits of their labor.
Time to celebrate.
Definitely. This pivotal period is marked by special harvest festivals that are deeply rooted in agricultural cycles and local traditions. Festivals like Pongal in the south, Baisakhi in the north, Holi and Diwali often coincide with or follow harvests, Nabanya in Bengal, Bihu in Assam.
Wow, so many.
These are vibrant cultural expressions of gratitude for a successful harvest and the abundance of food. It's a time for community, feasting, cultural festivities, highlights the profound importance of agriculture in their lives.
That's wonderful. Finally, after all that incredible effort preparing the soil, planting, nourishing, weeding, harvesting, threshing, winnowing, comes the absolutely crucial last step, storage.
Can't forget storage.
It seems like if you don't store it properly, all that immense hard work could literally just go to waste, spoiled or eaten by pests.
Precisely. Proper storage of the harvested produce is absolutely critical. It's the final line of defense against loss. If harvested grains aren't stored correctly, they can spoil rapidly or be attacked by a whole host of destructive agents. Excess moisture, insects, rodents like rats, harmful microorganisms like fungi and bacteria.
Yikes.
Any of these can render the grains unfit for consumption or, crucially, unfit for germination if they were meant to be saved as seed for the next planting season.
That would be devastating.
A devastating loss after so much invested effort and resources.
So what's the very first line of defense against spoilage and degradation once the grains are harvested and threshed?
The primary defense, and perhaps the most critical, is all about controlling moisture.
Moisture, okay.
Freshly harvested grains, by their nature, have a higher moisture content than is safe for long-term storage. So they must be thoroughly and properly dried, usually in the sun, to reduce this moisture content down to an optimal safe level, typically around 10–14% depending on the grain.
Drying is key.
Absolutely key. This drying process is a primary natural defense against the growth of those destructive pests, bacteria, and fungi, as these organisms thrive and multiply rapidly in moist conditions.
Makes sense. Dry them out.
It's a simple, ancient technique that remains absolutely indispensable.
And once they're properly dried, where are these massive quantities of grains kept? Are there different solutions for small-scale, individual farmers versus large-scale, commercial storage?
Yes, there are definitely different scales of storage solutions tailored to the volume of produce.
How do small farmers store it?
At home, individual farmers typically store their grains in sturdy jute bags or robust metallic bins, often sealed tightly to protect against pests. Sometimes they even strategically use dried neem leaves mixed in with the grain.
Neem leaves. Why?
Neem leaves act as a natural insect repellent. It's a traditional wisdom that helps protect the grains from insect pests naturally.
Wow. Natural pest control.
Exactly. For large-scale storage, however, vast quantities of grains are kept in specialized, purpose-built structures called silos and granaries.
Silos and granaries, what's the difference?
Silos are typically tall, cylindrical structures, often metal or concrete, designed for bulk storage, and sometimes they have mechanisms for aeration and temperature control built in. Granaries are essentially large, well-ventilated warehouses, often partitioned. Both are meticulously designed to protect immense volumes of grain from environmental factors like moisture and temperature fluctuations, and of course, from pests like rats and insects.
Do they use chemicals in these large stores?
These large go-downs also often require specific chemical treatments, applied periodically, maybe as fumigants between batches or protectants mixed with the grain, to ensure the grains remain safe, free from pests, and viable for extended periods, ready for distribution to markets or for future sowing. Protecting the national food reserve is critical.
An incredibly complex system, right to the very end. That's an incredibly comprehensive overview of how we get our plant-based food from the field to our plates. But of course, food doesn't just come from plants, does it?
You're absolutely right. While crops form the foundation of our diet globally, it's vital to remember that animals also provide different essential kinds of food and other valuable products.
Like milk, eggs, meat.
Exactly. The systematic rearing of animals for food, like milk, eggs, or meat, and other useful products such as wool or leather, is known as animal husbandry.
Animal husbandry.
This is another incredibly important and sophisticated aspect of food production. It involves the proper feeding, providing adequate shelter, systematic breeding programs, and careful disease control and prevention for these animals, all to ensure they are healthy, productive, and provide high-quality output.
Another whole branch of science and practice.
Absolutely. Animal husbandry is crucial for providing essential protein and other nutrients, diversifying our diet beyond just plant-based foods, and playing a vital role in global food security. It's an equally complex science in its own right, really.
A topic for another deep dive, perhaps.
Wow.
What an incredible journey we've taken today. I mean, really, from understanding the fundamental human need for food to preparing the very soil beneath our feet, carefully selecting those tiny seeds, planting them with precision,
Mm-hmm.
tirelessly nourishing them with manure or fertilizers, ensuring they get just the right amount of water, battling those incredibly persistent weeds,
A constant battle.
and then finally, celebrating the harvest and ensuring its safe storage. The sheer science, the meticulous effort, the ingenuity behind crop production and management are truly immense. It's profoundly humbling when you break it all down.
Indeed. It's truly not just about dropping a seed in the ground and waiting for it to grow, is it?
Not at all.
It's a carefully choreographed, dynamic dance with nature, utilizing this fascinating blend of ancient wisdom passed down through generations, alongside cutting-edge modern technology and deep scientific understanding, all just to feed billions of us.
Every step matters.
Every single step, from the microscopic bacteria working wonders down in the soil to the large-scale machinery traversing vast fields, it all plays a vital, interconnected role.
It really is a testament to human ingenuity and our ever-deepening understanding of the natural world. Every single meal you eat, every grain of rice, every piece of bread, every vegetable, it's the direct result of these intricate, highly specialized agricultural practices. It's a fundamental pillar upon which our entire society stands, really.
Precisely. And considering all the myriad factors involved, the unpredictable climate variations we're seeing more of, the delicate balance of the soil ecosystem, that constant evolving battle against pests and weeds, the critical and often scarce need for water, and most dauntingly perhaps, the sheer scale of feeding billions of people around the globe, a number that's still growing.
Yeah.
It raises a truly fascinating and critical question for the future. As you reflect on everything we've discussed today, what do you think will be the single biggest challenge for crop production and management in the coming decades? Maybe even for your children's generation.
That's a big question.
And conversely, what scientific breakthrough or innovative agricultural practice do you believe will be most crucial in addressing that challenge?
Wow.
It truly makes you think deeply about the future of food, doesn't it?
It certainly does. We hope this deep dive into crop production and management has given all of you a fresh, maybe a more profound perspective on the science and the incredible effort behind your food.
We hope so.
Keep those questions coming, keep that curiosity alive, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.